Hello everyone, welcome back to Speaking Spurs with me, Kieran, talking all things Tottenham. Still on holiday here in Sea Houses, Northumberland, but the videos are still rolling out anyway. I'm just nicely tucked away upstairs in the penthouse where we've got the pool table and all the entertainment system. Massive room up here. I'm having a good time, halfway through the week now. So, all important game tomorrow, Europa Conference League against NS Mura away. Easiest game in the group, we should say, but it is an away game, which is always difficult in any European competition. Obviously, they have home advantage, they have their own fans, more noise, but we should have the experience to get through it. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the video with a like and post your comments below so we can keep the Spurs conversation alive. So, let's talk about some of the important issues that have come up in the last few days. One of them being Christian Romero. And surprise, surprise, international break ends with Spurs players out. So we've got Lo Celso and Romero out. Dane Scarlett's still out as well. Sessegnon has returned, as we've seen, because he played in the last game a little bit. And he will be out from the start in the next game. He was involved in his own press conference, which is nice for Ryan. But let's talk about Romero's injury. So it's a suspected hamstring injury. Conte's been speaking on it, saying that they're waiting for another scan. He thinks it's he said a bit serious. Now, I don't know if he means it's very serious, because I don't know what a bit serious means. But he said, look, it's more serious than Lo Celso and Dane Scarlett's injuries. So expect that one to be at least a couple of weeks that he's out. However, cover-wise, we know we're fine at the moment. Dyer's been playing fairly well. Davies has stepped into the left centre-back role quite nicely, and Sanchez has been good every time he's been in. Maybe Rodon might get a chance now, although I still think he's going out on loan in January, and Tanganga was playing in the last game. So, yeah, injuries every time our players go away, which is very annoying. Kind of sick of international football now, if I'm honest, as many of you fans back home will be and all. Next story, it kind of links into this injury stuff. So Conte was asked about the squad that he'd be taking. Obviously, Nuno changed up every single starting player the last time we were away in the Europa Conference League, which didn't go down too well with fans. It certainly didn't go down well with me, because I'm of the opinion, yes, these players train together day in and day out, but to actually play with each other on a pitch is a different kettle of fish. Your relationships that you build in training are completely different to how you're going to play in a game, because everybody's slightly more unpredictable in a game with things and risks they're willing to take. The instructions that they're given may change depending on who we're up against. And I think they will do with Conte. He's a good manager tactically. So I think Nuno got it completely wrong when he did that, as we all saw. He basically threw a bunch of individuals out there and asked them to play as a team. Now, Conte has said that he will take everybody that's fit, which is good, but he has explained there will be rotation. It's not going to be flip the whole starting lineup. It's going to be rotation to give players a rest. Obviously, there's guys that went away on international break and played every game, and there's also the guys that stay behind that will put through double sessions. Now, when he makes these changes, it's not because he's putting out effectively a B team. The rotation is important. The rotation is important to reduce risk of injury and fatigue within the players. On top of that, there's players that he's going to need to see in a game situation that probably trained quite well whilst the lads are off. But these double sessions, don't get me wrong, they're going to hit the players with fatigue because they're not used to doing it again. That their fitness levels are not where they once were under Pochettino. He pushed them really hard. Like Dyer's been speaking at this week, saying it's nothing that some of the lads are alien to. They've been through it before. So they know what to expect. But these things do take time to build. The body has to get used to it all again. So expect rotation, at least for the first few weeks that we're under this regime. So there will be some. And as I've said, Ryan Sessegnon is one of those guys we're going to get to see from the start after, what has been a torrid time with injuries. Even when he was out on loan with Hoffenheim, he had to struggle with an injury there. So moving on next. Okay, let's talk about a transfer. Because I haven't spoken to you since the win against Leeds, there was the reports about Jordan Pickford being a target. Now, it's not just that. Sam Johnstone has always been kind of a mini target of ours from the summer. We ended up with Galini in the end. Yeah, Sam Johnstone obviously playing in the Championship with West Brom. He's still producing some top quality saves and really good moments for them. I think he's a good goalkeeper. I think he's a sensible one to go for. Going to cost a lot less than what Pickford will. Now, the reason why we're going to get linked with so many English goalkeepers now is because Conte has apparently said that he wants a homegrown goalkeeper, which I'm all for. Pickford, for me, if you get the Pickford that plays for England, by all means, bring him in any day of the week. If you're going to get the Pickford that plays for Everton most of the time, avoid, and I'll happily take Johnstone. Now, the other one that obviously we've now been linked with is Henderson from Manchester United. That was always going to happen when we're linked with English goalkeepers. I wouldn't be surprised if the words Nick Pope come up at any point in the future as well. That one's just going to be one that circulates. I can't see Everton allowing Pickford to move. Not at least till the end of the season. I don't think they're going to want to have to pick a new number one midway through the season and go out and buy someone. But I think Johnstone is a very, very sensible choice. You've only got to look at Ramsdale going to Arsenal. Doesn't matter about relegation form and things like that. In fact, a keeper that has been relegated with teams might not be such a bad idea. And I know some of you will think I'm crazy, but the reason for this is guys that get relegated, they've obviously played in a team that are defensively weak over the whole squad, which is why they concede chances, they concede more goals. It doesn't mean the goalkeepers are bad, it just means teams they're playing against traditionally get more chances per game. Now, elite level strikers, the more chances you give them, the more likely they are to score. Which also means these goalkeepers are having more shots to face, which means they're probably making more saves than all the other goalkeepers as well. But, if you're having 30 shots whacked against you a game, chances are one or two of them are going to go in, all right? Whereas, some of these goalkeepers at the top level, it's hard to know if they really are that much better than these other goalkeepers because they face less shots. So I'm all for it. Let me know what you think. Who do you want? Are you happy for Pickford? Do you want Henderson from Man United? Do you want Sam Johnstone? Or do you want Lloris to stay on for another year? I mean, I would not be adverse to that whatsoever. I think Lloris has been excellent since he came back from his injury last season. Really turned the corner. Distribution is still a bit iffy at times, but I don't think that's ever going to change. Moving on to centre-back news. Obviously, we've been linked with the world and his mate when it comes to centre-backs, and this is no different, but this one's a bit more out there. So, Fenerbahce, Kim Min-jae, 25-year-old South Korean, so knows Sonny quite well from international duty. He went over to Fenerbahce in the summer from Beijing Guan for £3 million. £3 million. He's 25 years old. He's been very impressive so far this season in the Europa League especially. They would consider selling him already, but it's believed to be in the region of 20 million euros, not pounds, euros. So they're going to make a tidy profit from that if he does go. But we also face competition from Juventus and Bordeaux. Good option, not going to lie. From what I saw of him last season, certainly as well. Obviously, YouTube clips can make anyone look good. I'm sure I can put together some of my Sunday League stuff and make myself look like a good player. But look, he looks a solid player. He's doing it in Turkey as well now. I know it's not the most elite league, but it's a step up. So it'd be interesting to see if that becomes a cheaper option for us if we can't get one of our main targets over the line. Oh, words, I tell you. Slightly bigger transfer story. Lautaro Martinez of Inter Milan. Apparently, he is willing to come to Spurs. So some of you will recognise this name just from the summer alone. So I reported that we had an agreement with Inter Milan. So a fee was agreed and it never got over the line. It was never specified entirely whether something changed with Inter's plans or Martinez didn't want to come. I should imagine it was more Martinez didn't want to come. And I'm not going to be too disappointed about that. At the end of the day, we had a period of time where we had no manager at all. We then got Nuno in, and I don't think Nuno is a manager that was ever going to attract top strikers to the club, especially with Spurs kind of on their descendancy. Now, having Conte in is a massive boost in that aspect because Martinez worked with him at Inter Milan. Let me know below. Are you excited about the prospect of that? I actually watched Inter play the other night, and he looked very good again. So for those of you that don't know about Lautaro Martinez, as I said, was a target of ours in the summer. Didn't happen. Supposedly he's interested now. In a recent interview, he was heard saying that he's got his eyes on the Premier League. Now, I should imagine once it becomes common knowledge that he's available, there will be many suitors. Very talented player. So let's talk a bit about him as a player. So he's 24 years old. He's Argentinian. Plays for the international side. So we've already got 2 players in the team to help him bed himself in Lo Celso and Romero. He's 5'9", plays as a striker. In his youth career, he played for Liniers, then moved to Racing Club at youth level, then became a senior member of the squad at Racing Club, and then moved on to Inter Milan, where so far he hasn't scored 112 goals. He's got 112 appearances and 43 goals. Now, that's not an amazingly prolific return, but you got to remember Inter have had some hard times recently. Obviously, Lukaku was there banging in loads of goals, so Martinez would have got less game time than he's used to. Then you look at his Argentina appearances. So for the under-20s, he played 11 times, 7 goals, much better ratio. And then for the fully fledged men's, he has 35 appearances and 17 goals. So at international level, that's a good return. And it just goes to show what players can do when they're playing with better players. They get more chances created. Obviously, South American competition, I think, is actually quite good when you watch the internationals. Some of them, they really give each other a fight. They're a bit more feisty, dirtier players in South America. So he's really up against it. But if we talk about where he was as a youth player. So when he was coming through, he was actually a centre-back. Yeah, believe it or not, he was actually a centre-back. But then he became a striker, and one of his biggest influences was Radamel Falcao. And in his day, great striker. So his playing style, he's dynamic, quick, agile, technically gifted. He is, as you've seen at international level, certainly a prolific goal scorer. His goal scoring certainly got better as the years have gone on, which is a good thing. He's known for his elegant playing style, good dribbling skills, and clinical finishing ability. And considering he's only 5'9" and he's not particularly beefy or anything, he has surprising physical strength and good aerial prowess. Despite his diminutive stature. He's hard-working, which is a massive box ticker for Antonio Conte. He puts in the defensive work. He's creative as well, so he will grab his assists. And his nickname is El Toro, which in Spanish in English translates to the bull. So let me know what you think about that one below. I'm actually quite excited at that prospect. I personally think Vlahovic is still our number one target. And if any of you watched the football from the other night, got another couple of goals. He just looks like a great player. There's going to be lots of competition for him. I'm not sure that we're going to be able to get this over the line based on the other clubs around us. I'd like to be optimistic and say that we'll do it. You know, there's been rumours of a verbal agreement between us and Vlahovic. I mean, Conte's certainly going to be a massive pulling factor to draw him in, and we know Fiorentina don't want to sell him to another club in Italy, so that makes it more an exciting prospect, but it just depends who else is in the market. I'm sure if Manchester City come in with an offer for him, he'll go to Manchester City, so expect big competition on that one. But Lautaro Martinez, certainly not a bad second choice if you ask me, and he's also a very different type of striker to Vlahovic, and a very different striker to Harry Kane, which means if Harry Kane needs to come out of the squad, Martinez slots in. But more importantly, Martinez and Harry Kane can play up front together. I do think that Vlahovic and Harry Kane, I don't think they'd be the best partnership up top, but it would give us a different dimension, especially with Conte playing with those really wide up and down wing backs. We could pump way more crosses into the box. You've got 2 men on the end of them that have got the ability. And next to Vlahovic, it actually means Harry Kane can drop slightly deeper and Vlahovic can play on the last shoulder. So it gives us plenty of opportunities. But, you know, Lautaro Martinez, if you can get him to come in and they play over 2 up top, it gives the freedom for the 2 wider men to creep in, the fullbacks to overload on the wings, which means we can get more men in the box. So you can have Kane and Vlahovic in the box. Or if it's Lautaro Martinez, you've got the pace there. He will just be breaking lines constantly. So it's an exciting time in terms of players that we're linked with. Don't know who we're going to get. Who do you want to join us as a second striker, whether it be on the pitch or back up for Harry Kane, or maybe even somebody to push him to the limit where Kane spends some time on the bench? I don't know. Lots and lots and lots of options, and we're going to continue to be linked with loads of players. So just to recap there, Romero injury, Lo Celso injury, Dane Scarlett's still not back. We're going to be linked with every English goalkeeper under the sun. Going to be linked with a lot of centre-backs and strikers. Midfield is probably the one that we're not going to do the most business in. However, I think we will get at least one in. And we've had those two good options with McKennie and Kessie. So, could be a new goalkeeper, could be a new defender, could be one new midfielder, and could be another striker. We've been linked with a few wingers, but I haven't spoken about them because I actually think on the wing is a department where we're fully stocked. And we have been for a while, which is why we had to get rid of some in the summer. Certainly still got some more dead weight laying about in terms of Jack Clark. So we're fully stocked there. But thanks for sticking around. That is your video for today. Don't forget to subscribe, like and comment. Take care. And until tomorrow on match day, come on you Spurs.